What are you doing to advance the cause of humanity? Because that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to fight the evil because they have to go down. They cannot prevail. If they do, we're going to have another Holocaust. We're going to have another genocide because that's how mean these people are. And it's already happening. Listen to guys like Max Kaiser. Okay, go on RT and listen to Max Kaiser talk about this. They're killing people. When you feel hardship in an industrialized nation in this day and age, in third world countries, they start dying, and we start dying too. You get people that are afraid to ask for help. You notice people getting skinnier, and they're dying. It's killing people. The suicides are up. This is how they're committing genocide on us, through economic disparity, through economic oppression, impoverishment. Another thing I find insufferable, and something I never hear anybody point out except me, and that is the fact that humanity's had thousands of years to get it together, to make some progress in terms of economic justice, social economic justice, okay? And nobody could prove to me we've made an iota of progress. My whole life, I've witnessed the disparity unfold, the, the economic injustice flourish, okay, in America. And I can't speak for every country, but I know that America, being the most powerful country in the world, which has been the case for many decades now, that our influence has infected the rest of the world's economics. And any areas where we haven't been able to infect it, we're trying desperately to infect it and to take world domination through the banking system. And I mean, anybody that knows the history of warfare, okay, this is where you tie economics in with things like crime and war. Okay, is the Rothschilds financing both sides of a war? I mean, this is not a new phenomenon. Okay, and it happens all the time. They invent wars. They start them on purpose. You know, like preemptive war. What the hell is that? That's what a bully does on the playground. Oh, let me beat this guy up and show him, you know, to be intimidated by me, you know, because might makes right and all this crap. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay. Um, these people will start wars with false flag operations. This is not a new uh, conspiracy theory. This goes way back in history. Look into it. It's been going on a long, long, long time. Okay, it's not. It's as simple and basic as a frame up. If somebody wants to get you in trouble for something, they can plant packets of cocaine on you and call, hey, this guy tried to sell me coke. I mean, what's going to happen? It's not going to look good. It's going to be pretty hard to weasel out of. Okay, but you know you're 100% innocent, but you've been framed, very successfully framed, and you're going to be doing hard time in the pen for being framed. Okay, and this is how a false flag works. You just, hey, look, you know, this country, these people, they live in this country, and they did this, so we got to go and kick their butts. I mean, it's all lies. Okay, it's all about economic oppression, all about keeping people down, stealing their liberty, okay, stealing their sense of security, keeping them living in fear, okay, with your little scam, and it amounts to sorcery. That's all it is. It's fiat currency. It's a big scam. I mean, imagine, you know, banks are loaning out. They can loan out 10 times of what they actually have, and then what they have is fiat currency in the first place. I mean, the whole thing is maddening. I mean, if you think that we that we can ever survive this fiat currency fiasco, okay, without some intervention, forget it. Okay, something has to change. Okay, we don't have to get as far as they had in Zimbabwe, where, you know, you got to walk around $1 trillion bills to buy a pack of toilet paper. I mean, it got really absurd. And that same thing, we all know that same thing could happen here. Our currency cannot continually go down in value, in purchasing power. We can't have that. Okay, there's not enough jobs out there. There's not enough income for the people. They're having to work less hours, and they have less money. So, you know, we all know this thing has to come to a head, and the only hope is sound currency. So I want to, at this point, read an excerpt from The Wealth of Nations. It's this edition. I got it at Barnes & Noble. It's got an introduction by Alan B. Kruger. This is the edition I recommend. I tried one, a different edition some time ago, and I found that I really couldn't read it very well. It was not nearly as coherent as this edition. But I'm going to read this. To be sure, Smith worried about the encroachment of government on economic activity, and his concerns were directed at least as much toward parish councils, church wardens, big corporations, guilds, and established religious institutions as to the national government. After all, these institutions were part and parcel of 18th century government. He was nonetheless frequently tolerant of government intervention when the aim was to reduce poverty. For example, concerning labor regulation, Smith passionately argued, when the regulation, therefore, is in support of the workman, it is always just and equitable. But it is sometimes otherwise when in favor of the masters. He also saw a tacit conspiracy on the part of employers, which are modern-day masters, always and everywhere to keep wages as low as possible. Surprise, surprise, huh? You know, I want to point out that most people quickly understand the complicity in a John in regard to a prostitute. They see that, you know, the prostitute couldn't have been a prostitute on her own. She needed this John. And what we've got today is our politicians who are supposed to be working for us, we the people, our employees, we hired to do a job for us, to represent us, to do right by us. And they have betrayed us. The banking bailout of '08, over 90% of the American people purportedly were opposed to that. Thank God for that statistic. Did it stop it? No. We have a dictatorial situation going on here. Our politicians have sold us out to the banksters. Okay, the political offices from the president on down are going to the highest bidder. And who can fund the highest bidder? The banksters. Okay, it's not hard to give suitcases full of cash, however they do it, gold bars, God knows, whatever these people want. As long as the status quo is maintained, as long as the banksters get to stay in power, okay, as long as the establishment gets to keep on trampling the average people under hoof and making our lives absolute hell, okay, taking away our liberty through sorcery, through fiat currency, okay, the only hope, if we're going to have a reprieve before something as momentous as the return of Jesus, the only hope to have a reprieve in America and elsewhere in this world is to have sound currency. We've got to demand it. We need a reset of minimum wage, not just in America, but all over the world. We need to get real. Start sharing the wealth. Don't listen to these idiots that tell you you're in debt to some other nation because they signed you off on it. Unless you signed off on it, you're not in debt. Okay? Just remember that. So this whole debt is illegitimate. Okay, let these people that are walking around the billions and yes, trillions of dollars, you never hear about the trillionaires, who could make guys like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett look like paupers, but they're out there. They're out there. These are the people that need to be held accountable. This is where the wealth is going. It's getting more and more concentrated in the hands of fewer and fewer people. It's not that the wealth doesn't exist out there. The wealth of America, for example, in the last 100 years has increased manifold, exponentially over the last 100 years. The wealth has been stolen from us. Okay? Every single person on earth could live a life filled with a sense of security and prosperity and liberty and true happiness. Okay? With everybody having enough, at least enough. I mean, if they want to play games, manipulate markets, and price fix, let them do it with the trinkets, which is anything you don't need. Okay? But the things that we need to regulate them. We need to be sensible, logical, and reasonable. It's just like a farmer putting up fences to protect his livestock from the wolves and other predators. We have a right to have consumer protection regulations to protect the people because we know we've got the equivalent of wolves out there that will take advantage of us, will rob us blind. Okay, and we all need to stop being stupid little naive kids and wake up to the reality and be honest. Be honest, even if it makes you nauseous because you realize how deluded you've been. Wake up nonetheless, because it's better now than later. Because eventually it's going to hit the fan. And if you die today, you want to make sure you were on the right side of history, and you're going to be able to stand in front of your maker and say, yes, I was ready to lay all my cards on the table and to live in a system that was completely fair down to the smallest detail.